Hello everyone, welcome back to English class. Today we are going to continue our previous chapter and the chapter name is The Happy Prince. And this is part third of this chapter. Alright, so we are going to start from the 11th paragraph. The next day the swallow flew down to the harbor. Harbor means what? Port. He sat on the mast of the large vessel and watched the sailor working. I am going to Egypt, cried the swallow, but nobody minded. And when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. So here the difficult word is what? Here, vessel. Vessel means what? Ship. I have come to bid you goodbye, he cried. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince. Will you not stay with me one night longer? It's winter, answered the swallow, and the snow will soon be here. In Egypt, the sun is warm on the green palm tree, and the crocodile lie in the mud and look lazily about them. In the square below, said the happy prince, there stand a little match girl. She has let her matches fall in the gutter. Gutter means what? Drain. And they are all spoiled. Her father will be Her father will beat her if she doesn't bring home some money. And she is crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eye, and give it to her, and her father will not beat her. So finally, the bird decided to go to Egypt. So further, when he came to say to the prince goodbye, the prince again requested to the bird, little swallow, 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 little swallow, can you stay one more night with me? But the swallow was not ready to stay there anymore because it was winter. Swallow said that it is difficult for me to stay here because it is winter season and very soon snow will come also here. That means the weather will be not comfortable for the bird, and that is why the bird is saying to the prince that it will be very difficult for me to stay here, and that is why I want to go to Egypt because in Egypt there will be the sun is warm. The bird is telling to the prince that in Egypt he will be comfortable because there is a warm weather and he will enjoy there the palm tree, the warm on the green palm tree, and he will be very much comfortable there. But the prince the prince told further the bird that there is a needy girl. She is a little match girl. That means a girl whose work is to sell the matchbox. You know the matchbox? We use it to set the fire. All right. So the happy prince requested the bird to give another sapphire from his eyes and give it to that lady, that needy girl. Because what happened with that girl? She has let her matches fall in the gutter. Actually, she had lost all her matchboxes. It fell down into the gutter, into the drain, and all were spoiled. They became useless, and she had nothing to sell in the market. And the prince told to the bird that her father will beat her if she doesn't bring home some money because she has very strict father, and the prince found that if she will not collect some money, if she will not bring some money for to give her father, then her father will beat her, and that is why the prince requested the bird to take another sapphire and to give it to that little girl so that she could sell it in the market, and she will get some money from this jewel from the shop, and she will be able to give some money to her father. In this way, the prince will be able to save that girl from beating by her father. I will stay with you one night longer, said the swallow, but I cannot pluck out your eyes. You would be quite blind then. So the bird finally, because the bird was also very kind hearted, so finally the bird became ready to stay with him, with the happy prince. But he said to the prince, Prince, please don't tell me to bring out another sapphire from your eyes. Otherwise you will be blind. Blind means what? A person who cannot see anything. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, do as I command you. Further, the prince gave an order to pluck out his another sapphire from his another eye. So he plucked out the prince's other eyes and darted down with it. He swept fast, he swooped fast the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. What a lovely bit of glass, cried the little girl, and she ran home laughing. Then the swallow came back to the prince. You are blind now, he said, so I will stay with you always. No, little swallow, said the poor prince, you must go away to Egypt. No, I will stay with you always, said the swallow, and he slept at the prince's feet. So finally, the bird took out the another eyes of the prince, the happy prince, the another sapphire, and he gave it to the little girl. And after getting this precious stone, the bird, the girl became very much happy, and happily she just ran towards her home laughingly. So after giving this precious stone, this sapphire to the girl, finally the swallow came to the prince, and the bird said to the prince that now you are blind because you have given your both sapphire from your eyes, and now you are unable to see the city. So now you are blind, you are unable to see anything. So for your help, I will live here along with you. I cannot leave you alone in this situation. But the prince requested, no, 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 not at all. Don't live with me. It will not be safe place for you because winter is about to reach. There will be too much cool weather over here and you will not be able to survive here. So you must go to Egypt. But the bird denied, and the bird decided to live along with the happy prince the entire life. All the next day he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in the strange land. Dear swallow, said the prince, you tell me of marvelous things, but more marvelous than anything is the suffering of men and women. There is no mystery so great as mystery. Fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there. So from that day, the bird started sitting on the shoulder of the happy prince, and he used to see the entire thing, whatever is happening in the city, and he used to convey the message to the prince. So the swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful house, while the beggars were sitting at the gate. And finally, the prince gave an order, or he requested to tell him what is happening in the city. So the swallow, the bird, flew over the great city, and he saw that the rich making merry. Making merry means what? Making fun, that means enjoying something. So here, merry, MERRY, making merry, that means here enjoying life. So here, what he is telling to the prince, that rich people are enjoying in their beautiful house where the poor people, the beggars were sitting at the gate. He flew into dark lane and saw the white faces of starving children looking out lifelessly at the black street. Under the archway of the bridge, two little boys were lying in each other's arms to try and keep themselves warm. How hungry we are, they said. You must not lie here, shouted the watchman, and they wandered out into the rain. So the bird started telling whatever he was watching, whatever he was looking in the city. So he told to the prince that rich people are making merry, they are enjoying their life in their beautiful house, but the another side there are beggars who are very much hungry, and there are also so many poor children who are unable to even get proper warm clothes, and they are just trying to keep themselves warm by lying in each other's arm in order to make themselves warm. So how hungry we are. The children, the poor children were talking to one and another that they are very much hungry. And the same moment a watchman came and just ordered that poor children not to stay here, and that is why the poor children had to wander out into the rain. Actually, they had taken shelter at some places, but they were kicked out. They were given order by the watchman not to stay here, and that is why finally the poor children had to move in the rain, into the rain. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen. I am covered with fine gold, said the prince. You must take it off leaf by leaf and give it to the poor. The living always think that gold can make them happy. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off till the happy prince looked quite dull and grey. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor and children faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played in the street. We had bread now, they cried. So when the prince came to know about their poverty, so again he requested the bird to take out the leaf. The leaf means what? There was that means the body of the happy prince was decorated with the thin plates of gold. All right, layer by layer. So he just requested to the bird to take out the leaf, that is gold leaf, from his body and give it to the needy people and the poor children so that they could get bread and clothing. And finally, the bird did the same, and the poor children became very much happy because now they had something to eat, they had something to wear, because prince had given all the golds from his body through with the help of the bird. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The street looked as if they were made of silver. Everybody went about in fur, and the little boys were scarlet caps and skated on the ice. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. He picked up crumbles outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking and tried to keep himself warming by flapping his wings. So, finally the snow started coming there and the weather became very much cold. All right, and it was not very much comfortable weather for the little bird to survive. And in order to keep himself warm, the bird started flapping his wings so that so that the bird could feel little warmer. All right. But at last he knew that he was going to die. But finally the bird realized that very soon the bird will die. He is going to die. He had just enough strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more. Goodbye, dear prince, he murmured. Murmured means what, to speak something in very low voice. Will you let me kiss your hand? So finally, when the bird realized that the weather is not good at all and he found himself that he is unable to survive anymore, and he felt that these are the last time, so he will not be able to survive many any more days, and that is why he said the prince goodbye. And he just requested the prince, so will you let me kiss your hand? The bird wanted to kiss the hand of the happy prince once again because of being so kind for the needy people. I am glad that you are going to Egypt at last. So the prince thought that finally the bird is leaving him and the bird is going to Egypt. So the happy prince became little happy. Said the prince, you have stayed too longer here, but you must kiss me on the lips, for I love you. So the happy prince said, because you served me so many days, you stayed with me in this very cold weather so many days, and you helped me, and that is why I started loving you. I love you very much. So you cannot kiss only my hand, you can kiss at my lips also. It is not it is not to the Egypt that I am going, said the swallow. I am going to the house of the death. Death is the brother of sleep. Is he not? At the moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped right into two. It certainly was a dreadfully hard frost. Early the next morning, the mayor was walking in the square below in the company with the town councillor. As they passed the column, he looked up at the statue. Dear me, how shabby the happy prince looks, he said. So finally, what happened? The prince thought that the bird was leaving him because he was finally leaving for the Egypt. But the bird said to the prince that I am not going to Egypt, I am going in the house of the death because the weather was not comfortable for the bird to survive. There was very cold weather outside. So at the next moment, as he kissed on the lips of the happy prince, the next moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue. What happens? Suddenly, just after kissing, the bird fell down there, and what? Suddenly, the body of the happy prince broke into two parts. Actually, it was because of the hard frost. The weather was very much cold, and that is why, because of the frost, the the body of the prince just cracked and it broke into two pieces. And early the next morning, when the mayor was walking towards that statue, as they passed the column, he looked up at the statue and he just saw the broken piece of that happy prince. And he said that shabby means what? Not good. So, what a bad the happy prince look. That means the statue has lost all the beauty, and the statue is looking so bad, it is looking so ugly. How so be indeed, cried the town councillor, who always agreed with the mayor, and they went up to look at it. So finally, the mayor and the councillor both saw the broken statue, and it was looking really ugly. The ruby has, because everything was taken out from his body, every part like ruby has already plugged out, sapphires has been also plugged out. So now the statue was looking little ugly. The ruby has fallen out of his sword, his eyes are gone, and he is golden no longer, like his the all the golden plates were taken out from his body, said the mayor. In fact, he is little better than a beggar. So he's saying that a beggar looks far better than this statue of this happy prince. That means the condition of the statue of the happy prince was worse than a beggar. And here is actually a dead bird at his feet, and they found also a dead bird because the last night after kissing the prince, the bird also died. So they found the dead body of the bird also. Continued the mayor. We must really issue an proclamation that birds are not allowed to die here. So the mayor finally decided to make an announcement that birds are not allowed to come here or die here. And the town clerk made a note of this suggestion. And the clerk was a great follower of the mayor. So he just prepared also one note, or he just prepared one documents in which it was written. The proposal was suggested that the birds are not allowed to die over here. So they pulled down the statue of the happy prince as he is no longer beautiful. He is no longer useful, said the art professor at the university. And finally, the professor of the art university found that the statue of the happy prince was so looking so ugly. So they found that it is not good to hang this statue. Then so what they did, as he is no longer beautiful. So finally, the statue of the happy prince was pulled down from the high pillar because they found that the statue has lost all the beauty and now the statue was looking so ugly. That is why it was pulled down. Then they melted the statue in a furnace. What a strange thing, said the overseer of the workmen at the foundry. This broken lead heart will not melt in the furnace. We must throw it away. So they threw it on the dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying. Actually, the outer layer of the prince body, like suppose that this one is the prince. All right. So here the outer layer was made up from it was decorated. The outer part of his body was decorated with the thin plates of gold, but the inner part was made with the lead. So it was very difficult to melt. It can be melted, but the worker found one thing amazing, one thing shocking. When they put the broken statue, into a furnace in order to melt it. They found very strange thing and they informed to the authority that it is impossible to melt this body of this statue in the furnace. This broke lead heart will not melt in the furnace and they found that it is impossible to melt this lead heart to melt in the furnace. It is impossible to melt this heart which was made up of lead. All right. So finally, everyone decided. They decided to throw it on a dust heap. So finally, the statue was thrown on a dust heap in the garbage, and there was also lying the dead bird. Bring me the two most precious things in the city, said God to one of his angels, and the angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird. So finally, one day, what happened? After their death, one day, the God given an order to the angel to his messenger to bring out two most precious things in the city. So the messenger of the God, went into the city and they brought back, and the angels brought the laden heart and the dead bird. You have rightly chosen, said God, for in my garden of paradise This little bird shall sing forevermore, and in my city of gold, the happy prince shall praise me. So praise means what? Praise. Praise. Praise means what? To appreciate something, or you can say what? Admire. Admire. All right. So the god became very much happy and he appreciated the angels that you have selected very good thing and you have brought the right thing and these two things deserve this heaven, this paradise. And the god said that the bird will sing, the bird will sing forever in this heaven and the happy prince and the happy prince will praise the god. So finally, both the bird and the happy prince went in the heaven and they were given the shelter of the god. So they were finally very much lucky because they were now they were being taken like the god has taken both the spirit like the bird and the happy prince, and they were very much lucky because now they got shelter under the god, and it is very difficult to take shelter of the god, and here the god has taken responsibility of taking care of the heart, like laid heart and the bird, that means the happy prince and the kind hearted bird. So this was all about this part, third part. In this way, we have finished this story. Now, moral of this story. So from this story, we can understand that there is misery everywhere in the society. There is poverty all around us. So, if possible, if we are capable to help the other person, we can make this society very beautiful. This society, this world is already beautiful, but we people, if we are capable to help the other person, we can make this world more beautiful by by giving help and by by fulfilling, by helping the needy people and the poor people, by removing their sorrow and misery as the prince and the bird did. The sacrifices, like if we can sacrifice, we must sacrifice for the happiness of the other people because this is the most important in the life. So the message is given by this chapter. If you can sacrifice your life or if you can sacrifice anything just to bring the happiness for the other person, and if you are capable, you must move away towards it. You must help the needy people, you must help the poor people, and you must try to bring a smile as the prince and the bird did in order to bring so many smiles on the face of so many people. So this was the end of this story. Thank you very much. In next class, I will send you the question and answer of this chapter. Thank you very much.